Hi there everyone, Isaac here from Sports Addict, and today I'm going to be talking about DELI ALLI. Obviously, big news, he's recently gone to Besiktas out in Turkey. It's quite sad to see, really, because, you know, DELI ALLI was following the career trajectory of people like Wayne Rooney, Adam Lallana, Oxlade-Chamberlain, even to some extent Jack Wilshere, I suppose, as well, where young English wonder kid starts out in a smaller side, not maybe for the case of Jack Wilshere, who was in that Arsenal side from the start, but even with the likes of like Theo Walcott, they start out in the small clubs, they get a big money move to a big team, and then they start doing well. So DELI ALLI obviously started off at MK Dons. Spurs bought him, loaned him back there, but then he went to Spurs, where he's had 7 years at Spurs, and he scored many goals. He's done brilliant things with the club, but he got to a European final in the Champions League. They narrowly missed out on the Premier League, but that was the season that Leicester won it. And some may say that was more than Spurs' fault. They should have easily won it by, April and May, and they threw it away in the latter stages of the competition, which is true, but that can't all be blamed on DELI ALLI. I mean, it was only his second season there. But just what I wanted to touch on is just, it seems like he's thrown his career away, and I don't think it can be blamed on anyone else but him. With DELI ALLI, with Jack Wilshere, he's recently retired this summer just gone at 30 or 31, which is a tremendously young age to retire at football. And that's happened because of all the injuries he's endured throughout his career, and that is of no fault of his own. Wayne Rooney went on to have a long and illustrious career, doing really well. And obviously retired at Derby, but he played well into his 30s at Man United, went over to the MLS and came back, and he went back to Everton for a little bit as well in that period, and he retired with a good grace and a good legacy behind him. You think Theo Walcott's still playing at Everton. He's not, lighting up the Premier League like he used to, but he's still there doing well. Adam Lallana enjoyed many years at Liverpool. Oxlade-Chamberlain, he's maybe a fringe player now, but he's still there at Liverpool. You think they've got rid of Xherdan Shaqiri, they've got rid of Divock Origi, but Oxlade-Chamberlain's still there. And then obviously with the likes of Daniel Sturridge, that he's out in Russia or Turkey, I think it's now. So obviously his career's not done the same, but he's like in his 30s now when he's made that move abroad after he left Liverpool, which I think is justified. He wasn't going to be first choice at Liverpool 5 years ago, so he went abroad where he was going to be first choice. But just touching base back on DELI ALLI, so he did really well for MK Dons in League One. Really impressive player. I never watched him in League One, but watching his highlights and different tactical analyses of him from back in those back then when he was lighting up League One for MK Dons. He then got the big money move to Spurs for, big money move. It was only 6 million in the end. But, that 6 million for a League One player going to the Premier League is quite a lot. You think for MK Dons, that 6 million is often what they spend in a transfer window, or at least a higher percentage of it. And especially back then when prices were quite lower. But DELI ALLI got that big money move to Spurs. He quickly became a fan favourite and a quality player in that Spurs midfield in a time when they didn't have much quality in that midfield. And he added an energy and a youth, and he seemed to really get along well with Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, like I said earlier, he got them to he didn't single-handedly get them to a Champions League final, but he was illustrious and pivotal in that run to the Champions League final. Obviously then Mauricio Pochettino got sacked the season after. Jose Mourinho came in a little bit after Ryan Mason. Oh no, so Ryan Mason was after Jose Mourinho, yeah. So Jose Mourinho came in, and he seemed to have a resurgence in his career. He would have been 23, 24 when Jose Mourinho came in, and he seemed to have a resurgence. Those first 4 or 5 games for Spurs under Jose Mourinho, he was absolutely electric. You think about that game against West Ham when he's sort of laid down and he kicks the ball back into play. Dele Alli from a few years prior would have just let the ball run out and taken the throw in. But he's pushing the ball in front and I think he got an assist, or he was definitely involved in the assist. You know, he passed it to Son, he passed it to Kane, or Son went on to score. But Dele Alli definitely had a resurgence in his career. But then you think the All or Nothing documentary that came out from Amazon the year after that, or the summer of that, showed Dele Alli did get on with the manager a little bit before, because he was back in the first team. He was a really player that Jose Mourinho wanted to build his squad around and wanted to include in his first team, but then he fell out of favour with the manager. Jose Mourinho called him lazy, which I completely agree with. Jose Mourinho said he didn't try hard enough in training, and that comes with the age, I think. You know, when you're 23, 24, you're a starting player for a team that's just got to a Champions League final. He's going to be on ridiculous wages. He'll have been on 200k, 150k plus. You know, you think, I can't be benched, I'm too good for this, and then you don't try as hard enough because you think, I don't need to try and I'll still get in the first team. And that's just a thing that comes with maturity in football, you know. All players go through that, I think, where they think they're undroppable when they've gone that amount of money. You know, he's constantly in the first team, he's getting them to this stage, he's getting him to this place in the table, they're advancing far in all the competitions. He's been picked for England at such a young age as well, which we're seeing a lot more of nowadays in Gareth Southgate's plans. But for that time, he'd get him picked in an England squad where there was a lot of older players in that squad and a lot of maturity in a time that he wasn't probably very mature, and he didn't try hard enough in training, which obviously led to the season after Jose Mourinho left. So Conte came in the December or the November sort of time, and then he went in the January to Everton on deadline day. Now, when I saw that on Sky Sports Instagram and Twitter, and Tottenham released it and all their things, and I saw it on the YouTube and all the announcement videos and all that, I thought this is going to be good for Dele Alli. I sat there with my friends and people, my family and all that, saying, this is going to be good. Dele Alli had fallen out of favour at Tottenham. He's not been in the England squad for some time. I think the World Cup was probably the last time he was in it. He definitely didn't go to the Euros. He was probably involved in a few of the European qualifying games and maybe some of the Nations League games, but he didn't go to the Euros. He wasn't getting regularly picked for that England squad like he was used to being. And I thought for Dele Alli, this is going to be the chance. This is going to be his chance to make it back. I thought he will be that main man at Everton. When James Rodriguez came in from Real Madrid a couple of seasons ago, I thought that was going to be the same. You know, he'd fallen out of favour at Real Madrid, he'd come in, he's going to be the main man, same sort of position, same sort of play style, and he's going to revitalise his career. He's going to be the main man, and then he's going to get a big money move elsewhere. Obviously, with James Rodriguez, he's gone abroad to, I think it was China. He's gone a much easier league, and he's just gone for the payday, as we all can infer. But with Dele Alli, I honestly sat there and thought different. I thought this is going to be Dele Alli. He's going to realise that he's had one of the biggest chances in football and he's thrown it away, and this is his opportunity to make it back. He was going to be the main man in my eyes. He was going to be scoring all the goals. He was going to keep Everton comfortably up in the Premier League. He was going to keep Everton scoring goals, going to be feeding Richarlison, the Gomez winger, you know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and that's going to be his chance to get back in the England squad, because if he can team up and get on good basis with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I mean, we've seen it with Bukayo Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe. Bukayo Saka was in the England team, Emile Smith-Rowe then broke through into the Arsenal team, they formed a partnership, and now Emile Smith-Rowe's in that England squad comfortably. We've also seen it with Kyle Walker and John Stones. Kyle Walker was coming to the England team, John Stones moved to City, they formed a partnership, they're in the England team. I thought that was going to happen with Dele Alli and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a mainstay in the England team, he's the backup striker in my eyes. Dele Alli goes, they form a partnership, they work well. Gareth Southgate sees this and thinks, if I have to drop Kane for injury, for loss of form, for a game that I just need to rest Kane for because we've got a bigger game coming up. I know I can rely on Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and I know that maybe Mason Mount and Dominic Calvert-Lewin don't work as well together, but Dele Alli and Dominic have got that understanding, so let's put them in together. They're going to play well, they can get us the points, they can get us the goals that we need to win this game. But it didn't happen for Dele Alli. Looking here, he didn't score many goals for Everton at all. I mean, yeah, he didn't score much. He had the few first games that always come with moving to a new team where, you know, opposition fans don't really know what to think of you because they can look at the Tottenham tapes and look and see that he plays like this, but when you move to a new team, different manager, different play style, it's always going to be unpredictable as what he can do, and it's difficult to form a tactical analysis of how specific. You can look at the team as a whole, but how that player is going to play, it can be often quite difficult. And obviously he was disappointed for Everton. They narrowly avoided relegation, not as narrowly as Leeds, but they definitely were not in a position that they wanted to be. It took them to the last 2 games to confirm that they were not going down, which for a club like Everton is not where they want to be. I think they would be happy with a 14th to maybe 9th finish, that sort of range, middle of the table to just in top half. I think they would be really happy with that as a league table finish. I think that's why I predicted them in that range anyway this season. But then he's gone now to Besiktas in Turkey, and that for me is just really disappointing. I thought that the move to Everton was he'd have a few years at Everton, start kicking on again, prove that he can be one of the best in world football, and then he would maybe make a move, maybe not back to Tottenham, but I could have seen him maybe going to a Leicester or maybe Newcastle, you know, because Newcastle are building a good team. They would have seen it and thought, that's a player that's going to work hard. He's got it. He knows he's got to take his opportunities by the reins and really grasp onto it. But it just didn't happen. You know, at Everton again, he had the few good first games, thought he was undroppable, and then just got really lazy. And then now he's on loan at Besiktas. I doubt they'll buy him because I imagine again he'll have a good few games. I mean, looking here on Transfermarkt, he's had 2 appearances, scored a goal, which, you know, for a midfielder is pretty good. 2 starting things. He has had 2 appearances in the Premier League for Everton this season, but obviously that was the first 2 games, and then he's gone abroad. So 2 and 1 is a good ratio to have for a midfielder, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. I think he will either stay at Besiktas purely because he knows he's not going to get back in the Everton team, or Besiktas aren't going to want him, and then he's going to go back to the Everton team where he'll probably stay for a couple of years, and then he might go abroad again. I could see him going to Spain in a few years, or Germany, something like that. But it's really disappointing with Dele Alli. I really thought he was going to be one of England's future attacking midfielders. What Wayne Rooney was towards the back end of his career was a central attacking midfielder like Dele Alli is now. What Mason Mount is for the England team, although he can drift wide. What Smith Rowe is for the England team, although he can drift wide. A lot of the players that England have in that central attacking midfield often play out wide for the clubs or like to drift out wide, whereas Dele Alli is more of just that. He sits centrally, he does a job like what Bellingham does, but just a bit more advanced, like what Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips do, but just more advanced. And I thought that's what he could be, but it's just it's not gone the way for Dele Alli that many thought he was going to do, and I think this move to Besiktas has completely derailed his career. I really think he could have done a lot better with what he had, the opportunities he was given, and I just think he's thrown it all away in a matter of a year, really. I think moving to Everton was a good decision, I really do, but he didn't take that decision well enough, and he didn't perform, and Everton said, off you pop then, you know, and that's just what happens when you don't put the effort in, and it's shown that all the way back in Jose Mourinho days at Tottenham. I mean, everyone criticises Jose Mourinho that he doesn't get on with players. But we've seen it at Man United as well. You know, he said Pogba is not good for the dressing room. Pogba's gone this summer on a free transfer to Juventus. Massive mistakes on United part, but that's for another day. Pogba's gone, and now suddenly the team are playing like a team and not just 11 players on a pitch that all want to be the star man, all want to be on the front cover of the Daily Mirror, all want to be getting the awards and stuff. Pogba's gone, and the dressing room has improved, it seems. He says Luke Shaw wasn't good enough. Luke Shaw's been dropped for Malacia. We've seen an improvement. He said Rashford is not is not a striker. He plays better when he's out left. He said we needed 4 or 5 signings 5 years ago when he first came into the job. He wasn't backed, and we get 6 signings in the transfer window. Obviously, Martin Dubravka is not a first team player, but we signed at least, I think, 5 first team players, and we've seemingly improved because the manager's seen back in. So Jose Mourinho, although he gets heavily criticised for being temperamental with players and starting arguments and not understanding the player and just disagreeing with them and all this jazz, he does know what he's talking about. He said Dele Alli's lazy and doesn't work hard enough, and he's going to throw away his career. There's a clip on the All or Nothing documentary that said, I think it was talking to Harry Kane, but you can still use it in the same thing. He blinked. He was 20. He blinked, and he's the age he's now at 52. I think he is. He's thrown away his career because of the lack of maturity, I feel. And yeah, I don't think there's any way back for Dele Alli from here. I think it's going to take a hell of a lot. I think he will now just be loan after loan after loan, running down his Everton contract, will become a free agent, and then he'll go somewhere like Australia or China or something like that. And it is really sad because he was a very promising player for a very long time. A lot of people said he was England's answer for the midfield. He added an energy, a youth, a passion that not a lot of the England midfielders showed at the time. But that just seems to have dissipated. And, you know, it happens. We've seen, like I said earlier in the video, we've seen cases of this before with Jack Wilshere, Adam Lallana, Daniel Sturridge, Danny Welbeck. You know, we've seen cases of this before where youngsters are thrown into a team and they become the star man and they become one of the best players in the team. And then just all of a sudden it goes to pot. And maybe that's something that needs to be addressed more, of not throwing English youngsters in just to fill an English quota at a club, you know. Tottenham at the time had Trippier and Kane really as only the main English players, and they threw Dele Alli in maybe to fill an English quota, and that I don't think that needs to happen. Bringing in the youngsters, Dele Alli wasn't a product of the youth system, but he was a young player that they brought in from MK Dons, a lower down level side, and threw him into the first team. And he did do really well, but then threw it all away because he was young, he was naive, he was immature. And maybe they were just trying to fill a English quota and say, look at us, we play in English players, but that doesn't need to be the case. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Dele Alli. Just to sum up, I don't think there's any way back. I think he's thrown his career away, and he's only 26. So I would really like him to prove me wrong. I would like him to have a brilliant season at Besiktas, come back to Everton, say, play me, Frank, if Lampard is still there next season, if he can survive the season. Dele Alli come back. I hope he has a good season at Everton next season. If he goes back, or if Besiktas buy him, then it'll be another case. But I think if he goes back to Everton, I hope he does well. And I hope he can get back in the England team. It's a long, long way back for him. He is very, very, very low down on that list. But we've seen with the likes of Harry Maguire, Harry Maguire is no longer first choice for Manchester United at centre-back. But Gareth Southgate has come out in the press and said that his position at England is safe. Even if he doesn't play, he's still going to get picked for England. Maybe that's similar with Dele Alli. He didn't play much under Gareth Southgate. Obviously played at the World Cup, but that was Gareth Southgate's first really major competition, and I think he sussed him out. He said, Again, same as Jose said, same as Maurizio probably said to him, same as Conte probably said to him. He's too lazy and he doesn't work hard enough on the training ground to justify playing every week. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Dele Alli. I hope you've enjoyed. If you'd like me to talk about anything else, please do leave a comment down below and I will endeavour to get to it. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.